Hi, good Wednesday. Welcome back. Thanks for being here on this 29th day of March. Pretty nice day in the neighborhood. 60s is not all that bad when you have a little sunshine. We've still got more spring-like weather in your forecast, and the active pattern continues, and it may lead to possibly some bumpy, maybe even severe weather for tomorrow night. I'll talk about that in just a few seconds. One announcement, this show taped earlier this afternoon to the tune of around 3:30 or so I can make it to Andrew's ball game. That by no means means that we don't have a full program tonight, as indeed we do. Just anything that may have broke after 3:30 or so up until 6 will be on tomorrow's program. The third day in a row, another serious auto accident, this threatening the life of a local young man. We'll take you to the scene in just a few moments. It's been a bad week for travelers in McGoffin County on our roadways. We'll have that in just a few seconds. We'll also have a response from the Johnson County Fiscal Court and Sheriff Dwayne Price and why they're asking that a suit against specifically both of them, but more so sexual harassment charges against the sheriff, be dismissed. And I've got some other news and information and some local or area officials asking for help. Someone caught red-handed dumping where they'd already spent thousands of dollars to clean up a dump site, and the list of news goes right on. Weather-wise, this is what I think we will be talking about still beforehand on tomorrow night's show, should the timing stay as it is right now. That's the potential for some severe weather. A risk of some severe storms is certainly increasing for western Kentucky and starting to make its way into the eastern part of the state. The lighter the shade of green to the far right of your screen is a lesser chance of some severe weather, and you can see that, of course, that threat increases as you go to the west. The risk for a severe thunderstorm or thunderstorms is increasing in areas in western and central Kentucky so far and extending into a portion of eastern Kentucky. Storms are likely to start to fire up in western Kentucky, western Tennessee as well tomorrow afternoon, and then make their way into eastern KY after 8 o'clock or so. And while, as is the case more often than not, conditions should become less favorable for severe weather as they do make their way into eastern Kentucky, that's not a given, and a few storms could produce some damaging winds and some hail, which will be the main threats tomorrow night, as has been the case for the past few weeks. Right now, the timing after 8. Right now, those main threats of large hail and damaging winds. And right now, the highest risk certainly in western Kentucky, the lowest in far eastern Kentucky. And right now, I expect that we'll have an update for you 24 hours from now. One of our top stories this evening centers around a lawsuit that was filed just a little more than 2 weeks ago by a Johnson County woman alleging sexual harassment against the sheriff of Johnson County. Now there has been at least an answer to that lawsuit asking for a dismissal of the case against the sheriff and the fiscal court of Johnson County. Yes, indeed, there is now a reply to the sexual harassment lawsuit filed against the sheriff and the Johnson County Fiscal Court by Joyce Estep, a former employee of the Sheriff's Department. Estep filing the suit on the 14th of this month, as I reported, claiming years-long sexual harassment and advancements from her employer, Dwayne Price, going into explicit detail in the suit about events and remarks that he is alleged, per her statements, to have made, even including 2 post-it notes which she claims were written and given to her by Price. Estep's suit claims that after repeatedly turning down Price, he retaliated against her, telling her she either had to resign or be fired, to which she says she resigned just more than a year before filing the suit, resigning on February the 29th of 2016. In the motion filed Monday of this week by attorneys representing the court and the sheriff, they are asking for dismissal of the case or a summary judgment in favor of the defendants. The dismissal motion says that Estep did in fact resign from her job at the sheriff's office on February the 29th of 2016, but did so after an investigation by the Kentucky State Police found that she'd taken over $900 from the property tax account, for which she was indicted for theft by unlawful taking that May and pled guilty to that August. And, says the attorneys representing the court and the sheriff, in light of those facts, a suit that calls into question a conviction in a state court can't proceed in a federal court unless that state conviction or sentence has first been invalidated, which Estep's has not. Also, in Monday's motion, the Johnson County Fiscal Court is requesting to be dismissed from the lawsuit because Estep wasn't an employee of the fiscal court. There's also another part of the motion that's an exhibit that the courts and sheriff's attorney says is a document that E-Step signed when she received a copy of the sheriff's office policies and procedures. In her lawsuit, she's claiming that she never was given such documents before or during her employment. The court has taken the motion under advisement and given no time as to when a decision will be made. In another case, in a related case, a week ago Friday, Joyce E-Step's husband, Darren E-Step of Oil Springs as well, entered a guilty plea in Johnson Court to 10 counts of criminal possession of a forged instrument for writing numerous checks over $4,600 worth on the Paintsville Funeral Home's account around the same time last year when his wife was indicted. Mr. E-Step was an employee of the funeral home at the time and was also charged with fraudulent use of the business's credit card. He was indicted after the sheriff's department opened the investigation and turned the case over to Kentucky State Police, who took it before the Johnson County grand jury last August. E-Step is set to be sentenced on April the 21st, and he also was involved in a prior case after he pled guilty to 2 charges related to forging prescriptions while employed as a city police officer in Paintsville in 2012. We'll pause for a brief word or two, and we'll be right back with more headlines this Wednesday. Stay tuned. To get high-speed internet on their state-of-the-art fiber optic network for all of your home and business solutions, or to watch TV without a contract on over 200 digital channels with superb quality, or stay connected with family and friends with 24/7 telephone service you can always depend on, contact Foothills Broadband today. Or just click on their link to the right to find out how they're working to provide the latest in communications at affordable prices with exceptional service at Foothills Broadband. We came in at the start of this week, and on Monday's program covered several auto accidents that had taken place over the course of the weekend. The most serious was a head-on collision on the Mountain Parkway due to a wrong-way driver. Yesterday, another auto accident to report to you, and today, yet another serious crash. This time, a local young man lost control of his truck and struck a tree, having to be life-flighted to a trauma center for the extent and severity of his injuries. This morning's crash happened on Elk Creek. A vehicle coming down the Sagersville side of the Elk Creek Hill going in the direction of 460 or Sagersville. When the driver lost control, the truck struck a tree and then went over an embankment into the creek. A motorist, the first to arrive on scene, gave me a statement off camera in which she said that she came by the scene and noticed some fresh dirt in the roadway and what looked like some evidence of a car going off the roadway, went to the top of the hill, and then turned around to come back. Around the same time, residents were coming out of a home across the road saying that they had heard the accident and were coming out to investigate as well, all finding the driver trapped in his truck after a violent crash that left him with life-threatening injuries. Already at that time, members of the Magafa County Rescue Squad and EMS personnel were on the scene of an EMS call in another part of the county, while Sagersville Fire Department personnel were some of the first to respond.
Upon our arrival, the patient was trapped inside of an S10 in a ditch line with the dashboard having him pinned within it. We noticed multiple fractures. He's still conscious and breathing at the time when we left him, got him out of his pickup truck and put him into, actually put him in the back rescue squad truck. We don't have an ambulance available for some reason or other. We've been on scene for probably 15 minutes and still no ambulance on site. So we transported him in the back of a rescue truck to the mouth of Elk Creek to meet a helicopter.
After leaving the scene, the patient was taken, as you heard Howard say, to a landing zone which was set up just across from the Elk Creek BP there in the large field across 460. It was there that rescue squad met with ambulance personnel as well as paramedics and EMS on board Kentucky 9, which had already had time to arrive on the scene. It also took several moments on scene to stabilize the patient enough to be transported by air to a trauma center. Not identified, of course, by emergency personnel or law enforcement. The family has since identified the young man in his 20s, I do believe, as Terrence Montgomery, as the driver of the vehicle, who is fighting for his life at this hour after this morning's crash. Still more headlines to come right now. Announcements and reminders on your McGoffin Farm Bureau community calendar. Don't forget about this Friday's Operation School Shoe fundraiser. It's pretty obvious what they're raising funds for. They're having a soup bean dinner to do just that, a big soup bean dinner for just $7, all the fixings you can imagine. You can order in advance by calling 792-0090. Order the day of by calling 349-6300. They will even deliver from the Lakeville Baptist Church from 11 till 2. You can go pick it up. You can eat with them there at the church, however you want to do it. But it's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful cause that we hope you can help. And the Living Water Pentecostal Church is having a big church yard sale. This is going to be in town on Parkway Drive in front of the Magoffin County Water Department. And it's this Saturday from 9 till 4. Big church yard sale here on Parkway Drive, hosted by the Living Water Pentecostal Church. And they've got sweet potato slips available for order at your Magoffin County Extension Service. They've got a beginner's sewing workshop that starts next Wednesday and continues for the next several Wednesdays from 10 until noon. You need to call if you want to get in, and you need to call if you want to find out more information about 4-H camp, which has been set for June the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. Same number applies to all, 349-3216. And they're back at it again. It's time this Saturday to pick and grin. Pickin and Grinnin's back at the Kearney Free Will Baptist Church. And from Pastor Butch Whitaker and everyone at Kearney, you are invited to come and join them for a wonderful evening of fellowship and pickin' and grinnin'. And also from our Magoffin County Extension Service, this is not until, I think, the 18th of April, but there's just limited space available. If you want to get in on it, you better get your name in soon. They're going to create habitats for those backyard bluebirds on Tuesday the 18th. Your county extension agent Courtney Jenkins and special guest Bill Gordon are going to be there with a free bluebird nesting box workshop. This is for kids and adults alike. We will learn about the fascinating creatures and build your own nesting box. Space is limited, so call soon, 349-3216. And please, whatever you do, call me or mail, Facebook, phone, fax, drop it off here at the studio any way you can. Get your message to us if you want it on the community calendar. That goes for birthdays and anniversaries too. And turning to funeral service announcements provided by the Magoffin County Funeral Home. A reminder of services to be held Friday morning at 11 in honor of 59-year-old Eva Lee Bailey Moore of Royalton, who passed away on the 27th, preceded in death by her husband Burchell. She survived by son Johnny Moore and daughters Melissa Wallen and Bobby Sue Wallace. Visitation is this evening after 10 o'clock tomorrow and all day, and then prior to Friday services. Once again, they start at 11 in her honor, all from the Sagersville Funeral Home. And services for 76-year-old James William Porter of Half Mountain are going to be held Friday at 1 o'clock. He's survived by sons William Cleve, Ryan Keith, Robbie, and Stevie Porter, and a daughter, Jamie Lee Porter, and stepdaughters, Sandra Jordan, Penny Jordan, and Sheila Ferguson. Visitation is the rest of this evening, all day tomorrow, and before services that start once again Friday at 1, all from the Magoffin County Funeral Home Chapel. Neighboring Breathitt County, in fact, all of the neighboring counties are making headlines tonight in a report to follow this one, but specifically neighboring Breathitt County, and specifically officers and authorities in Jackson are asking for help in regards to identifying this man who was caught red-handed dumping garbage in a dump that existed no more after the county had spent thousands of dollars cleaning it up. Illegal dumps sure aren't what they used to be, but they're still too prevalent, and more often than not, they just tend to come right back where they were removed from. Point in case in Breathitt County, the county had spent about $8,000 at this particular dump site, and now have photographs of this man dumping his garbage there instead of disposing of it properly. It appears to be a black or dark colored, definitely a Ford F-150, either an extended or super cab truck. License plates can't be made out in the photographs that they have, or at least the ones that we have. And there's also some sort of some foliage or something in the view as well that kind of disrupts the scene, so to speak. But there is also a closer picture that does give a bit more detail as to who it may be, and they're hopeful that that much detail might be enough for someone who knows the man to call and report him at 666-2424. The county spent $8,000 picking up this illegal spot just not that awful long ago, and was still, we believe, relatively clean. But they had, of course, installed game cameras, if you will, to try try to catch anyone who may break the law in this same manner at this same site. And they've got someone so far in their sights, and with someone's help, they might be able to make an arrest. 666-2424. This took place yesterday, once again, in Breathitt County. And on a related topic, a Magoffin County viewer sent me some pictures earlier this week that shows where someone had dumped a mattress and box springs and some other garbage. And I'm still trying to gather some other details so I can share that with you before the end of the week. Well, Breathitt County is also in this following report, as is Magoffin, as is every eastern Kentucky county, as is every county in the state and the nation for that matter. Like many other studies before it, a new list of county health rankings just out today compares our health to that of our neighbors and that of our fellow Kentuckians and that of the United States. You can find these statistics and other information on countyhealthrankings.org that shows that premature deaths are on the rise in many states, including Magoffin County. The Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, as well as the University of Wisconsin Population Health Institute, has issued the report each and every year for years, and today's, like many others, does show a rather grim picture of our health here in eastern Kentucky. The data compiled in the report indicates that some counties in Kentucky still do very poorly as rated against others, and that Kentucky, compared to much of the nation, follows the same trend. Whether it be the percentage of diabetes, obesity, the smoking rate, overdose, or drug abuse deaths, the report ranked the 5 healthiest counties in Kentucky as Oldham and Boone and Spencer and Shelby and Woodford. And at the same time, on the opposite end of the spectrum, were those in eastern Kentucky, where we had the distinction of having the highest rates of obesity and diabetes and smoking and drug abuse and overdoses. The bottom 5, or least healthy: Harlan, Knott, Owsley, Wolf, and Breathitt. And taking a closer look at the surrounding area, Morgan came in 91st, Magoffin 94th, Johnson 96th, and then Floyd, Knott, Wolf, and Breathitt County all in the bottom 6. A dozen counties in Kentucky saw their premature death rate go down from 1997 through 2014. In 44 others, their numbers went up, with overdoses being a big factor in those numbers. In fact, prescription drug abuse resulted in the rate of overdoses in Kentucky increasing almost 300% over the course of a decade, starting in the year 2000. That's 300%. More recently, our state recorded just over 1,300 fatal overdoses in 2015, an increase of about 230 from 2012. And that puts Kentucky, West Virginia, Ohio, and New Hampshire as the 4 states in the entire nation with the highest age-adjusted overdose death rate in the nation. As for the trend across the nation from 2014 to 15, 85% of the increase in premature deaths in the United States can be attributed to the rise in deaths among people 15 to 44 years of age, the majority of which died as a result of drug overdoses. Now, as we get ready to talk about some other numbers and crunch your weather forecast, nothing really new to add right now on tomorrow's potential threat for some severe storms. We are in eastern Kentucky in the lighter risk category comparatively to the western part of our state. You can see indicative of the orange and green, all courtesy of mostly of a low pressure system that's going to wreak some havoc to the west of Kentucky before it gets here. And I still think by tomorrow evening around 8 o'clock or after 8 o'clock is when we could see some severe weather, and we'll know more certainly by tomorrow night. What we know now is that after about 67 today, pretty nice day midweek, that we should fall to a pretty comfortable 55 tonight under nothing more than partly cloudy skies and a wind out of the northeast, say 3, 4, 5 miles per hour, becoming still. And for your Thursday, not as lucky at the end of it at least. We'll see partly sunny skies, and we're going to see a big push of warm air out in front of that potential severe weather to the tune of 77, maybe 78 degrees or so. That's not necessarily a good thing, but it's going to be nice for a little while. It will also be under some partly sunny skies. About a 20% chance of some showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon. By Thursday night, those chances increase, and then showers are likely late. and we're hoping for just showers and no severe weather. Once again, we'll talk more about it, but you can see what temperatures will do after the weather we see tomorrow night. They'll take a bit of a hit down to about 65 and 48 on your Friday. I think we'll also see some showers and some thunderstorms lingering through at least the early hours Friday, and wouldn't be surprised if we don't see some lingering showers through the latter afternoon, maybe even early evening. Still a little too far out to call. Nevertheless, your weekend has also changed, and you can tell by the tone of my voice, not necessarily for the better. It's not all that bad. It's just mostly cloudy on your Saturday with a little drizzle in the AM. Otherwise, definitely cooler, down to 58 degrees expected and 43 for Saturday night's low under continued mostly cloudy skies. And for your Sunday, 66 and the sun returns. That's the good part of the weekend. 49 for the low and partly cloudy that night. So certainly a nice latter half or second half to your weekend. Not all that bad Saturday, just, cloudy and a little drizzle. Monday, we'll see the 70s make a run at it with, guess what, more sunshine and another chance of some showers and storms. 40% early by Monday night. We'll get back up to almost a sure thing of some showers, maybe some thunderstorms. And once again, as I've ended the weather forecast on the past many nights, the pattern rolls on. Well, that indeed is going to wrap it up for this evening. As I said earlier, this program taped a couple of hours early so I could make it to Andrew's middle school baseball game in Morgan County. I think is where I'm headed. I hope you're headed back to see us tomorrow night for more of your news today. For now, good night and thanks for watching.